All right, this is going to be a walkthrough of assignment 7. There's quite a few steps. I just want to go through it and give you an idea to make sure you do it correctly, because this is going to set up a .files repository that you can use in the future outside this class to store all your settings and customizations and use them with all the code spaces that we'll be using for the rest of this class. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to create a new repository. We're going to call it .files. So this is step 1 here. We can do that by going up here to the plus in the upper right hand side of GitHub. And if you click that and then click new repository, we want to make sure that the new repository, the owner is yourself, your GitHub username. In other words, not PG383-HPC or anything else, any other organization, but rather your username. Please call it exactly .files. And then what we want to do, make sure it's public, and then just go ahead and click create repository. Don't change anything else. So with that, let's go ahead and return. Let's go ahead and return back to our assignment 7. Right. Look at step 2. We want to open a code space associated with assignment 6. Okay, so we're going to go back to assignment 6. Open up. So now here we are on assignment 6. Of course, it's passing. We're going to open up a code space associated with that. Go ahead and let that open. And then we're going to write a couple of commands in the terminal window. They're written out here. The main thing is this first one, you want to replace this, what's inside the quotes, your email address, with your actual email address, preferably the one you registered for GitHub with. You can actually copy this by clicking this thing in the right here. And so within the assignment 6 code space, what we're going to do is we're going to go to open a terminal, and we'll go ahead and paste that command in here. A little bit of extra text there in mind, but what we're going to do is again, add your email address, the one you registered for GitHub with, and again the command should be ssh-keygen-t ed25519-C, and then in quotes your email address. So there's going to be some prompts here. We want to just basically continue to hit return, and then you'll see some ASCII art there, and it'll return to the regular terminal command prompt. So from there, what we want to do is type cat ~/dot /ssh id ed255 pub, and so that's going to print something to the screen. It should start with SSH ed25519 and then followed by a bunch of kind of apparently random characters, and then the last thing will be your email address, the one you issued with the SSH keygen command. What we want to do is copy this line right here, so I'm going to just highlight the line and copy it. Right click and copy it. Returning to our .files that we just created, again, that will be under your GitHub username /.files, and this is what it will look like since there's no files associated with it yet. What we want to do now is we want to go here to settings, go to deploy keys, add new deploy key, and then paste that long string of text that we copied earlier. We're also going to need to give this a name. The name is a little bit arbitrary, but we can call it assignment 6 deploy. And then finally, make sure you click this allow write access. That's going to allow us to push to this .files repository from the assignment 6 repository. So now that we've done that, we have this key here in the .files returning to the main page again. You don't see anything there. So at this time, we are on step 4 here, And what we want to do is basically run these commands in our assignment6 repository, right? So I'm not going to copy them. I'll just write them myself. So back over here on our assignment6 repository, what we want to do is first remove. So git remove -rf the dev container folder, the .github folder, the environment file, and the test.py file, because none of those are needed from your .files directory. Again, this is going to be a repository that you can keep and add to over time. So we don't need those things. They're not. Those are related to things in this class and not to your specific settings or anything like that. So with that, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and make a commit. So we'll say git commit remove unneeded files, and then the next thing we're going to do is type git remote set-url origin, and then what we want to do is paste in the URL from our .files repository. So this URL, remember, make sure to click the SSH and then copy this to your clipboard, and then you can paste that here, just like that, right? So again, it's git remote set-url origin and the path to the .files repository. So with that, what we can do then is just go ahead and do a git push. Now origin master. Now origin has been changed, right? So this is not going to overwrite our assignment6 repository. It's going to write to the newly created .files repository. We'll have to type yes here, and then that should have worked. So if you go back to the .files repository and you refresh your browser, you'll see here just your .files from assignment6. Now, of course, the README is still there. You can change that. Probably should. You know, this is not relevant to what's in this folder. We can actually edit a README right from GitHub, so you can click that here. Go over here and click edit, and then you can just change all this to whatever you want. .files settings. Doesn't have to be a lot in there. So return into the repository again, and we see what we have here. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is make it so that when we open a code space, our .files are automatically deployed. So we'll go over here to in the upper right hand corner of GitHub. You should see your profile picture or a generic gravatar. Click that, go down here to settings, go to code spaces on the left, and then click this automatically install .files. So if we click that, and then you choose the .files repository that we just created, then once that's in there, that's all we have to do. So we can go ahead and close out of this and return to assignment7, right? So the last thing we want to do in order for assignment7 to get graded is that we need to basically make a commit or change on assignment7. So you could open up a code space and make a change to the README. I even make the suggestion here that if you just delete this single line, delete me, that will cause the continuous integration server to run the tests. So you can actually just do that right from GitHub. So again, click the README, click over here on the edit, and then just scroll down to the line that says delete me and delete it. And then go ahead and make a commit, returning to the home page for assignment7. Yeah, you see the continuous integration server is running now. What that's going to do is actually pull in those .files from your home directory and test against those, just making sure that basically the LLA alias is there. So if you happen to have your own .files directory already, Just make sure that you have that alias LLA equals LS minus LA. As long as you have that alias defined, then the test here will pass. So that's all for this assignment.